Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, Chad. Hey, welcome everybody. Exciting episode with Chad Goldwasser. Am I saying that right? Goldwasser?
Goldwasser.
That's probably German, I'm guessing.
Yeah, German and Jewish.
Yeah, it's probably German for like goldsmith, I'm guessing, right? That's probably what the
Goldwasser. Wasser in German means water.
Yeah, okay. Gold. That makes you a banker. The person who watches gold is a banker.
I like it. Let's start a bank.
Very appropriate that you're on my podcast. Excellent. We got 500 generations of banking talent here on the podcast today.
I love it.
So Chad is a top agent, and I met him last week in Pasadena at our Mindset conference, and it was just kind of amazing just listening to his story. It's so motivational, so inspirational. I got a couple of questions I'm going to throw at you later in the podcast. Based on our conversation that we had. You really kind of opened my eyes to a few things, and I wanted to get that out there. But before we get into my questions, I think the audience would love to know how you made it big.
How I made it big. Well, I got into real estate when I was 23 years old. I just bought my first home in Austin, Texas, moved down here from Minneapolis, and I was a bartender and a college dropout. And but I had something in my heart, in my mind, in my soul that made me feel like I was going to be successful. And I thought it was going to be in the restaurant business, but after I bought that home and was managing a restaurant down in Austin, Texas, I decided no. And I went to get my real estate license so I could start investing in real estate and buying properties, and that's how I was going to build my wealth. It was 1996, the end of 96 in Austin, Texas. The real estate market was booming, so the room was packed with people. And there were probably 300 people in there. And after about 3 days listening to them, I looked around and thought, if they can sell real estate, I can too. And I got my real estate license. After 6 months, I had my first listing. It was a broken down mobile home. But I was out studying and learning the market, like studying it, looking at homes, understanding neighborhoods, pricing, all those things. And while I was on a property tour, a guy sat in the back of my car and he was on his phone the whole time. And I thought, I want to be that busy. And he got out of my car at the end of the property tour, came up to my window and said, I'm looking for a buyer's agent. And I had no idea what he was talking about or who he was. And I said, good luck. 1 month later, I was on my way to do an open house and I was listening to a Mike Ferry cassette tape. Yes, cassette tape. And he was talking about buyer's agents. And I thought, that's what that guy was talking to me about. He was trying to hire me. And I went into my office. It was a Saturday, like vividly remember this. And I looked down and there was a magazine. And guess who was on the cover? Him. And I read this story about him. He was the #1 agent in Austin at the time. And I said, I'm going to call that guy today. And I didn't. And I was in the bar, Trudy's, about 2 miles from where I'm sitting right now, standing behind the bar. He comes walking in with his wife. And I was like, wow, I was going to call you today. I went to work for him 5 days later as his buyer's agent. And 4 days after that, he gave me a book. It was called 30 Days to Success as a Buyer's Agent. He said, no agent I have ever hired has finished this book and none of them works for me anymore. And I said, gauntlet thrown, done. And I started getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning and going through between 10 to 30 exercises I had to do every day. And I finished that book and it changed my life. I closed my first deal at the end of July in 1997 for him. Got super passionate. I love serving people. And
wait, hold on a second, Chad. So what was the name of that book again? This is exciting.
We're going to rewrite it, buddy, because it's not in print anymore. It was called 30 Days to Success as a Buyer's Agent, written by Howard Brinton, one of the greatest real estate coaches ever, Tony DeStello and Diana Kokoska, the head of maps for KW. But in that book, I had to start every day with 25 affirmations I had to read out loud 4 times. I'm the best at what I do. I lead, not follow. I believe, not doubt. Then I had to write in a notebook 25 times. I will enjoy success through selling 4 homes per month, 25 times for 30 days, every day. And then I had to visualize myself being successful, receiving checks, and growing. And I didn't know why I was doing it. But 28 years later, guess what I do every single day? I was radically revolutionizing my thinking. And the next year I sold 67 homes with him. I was 24 years old, and that changed my viewpoint of life. And 9 years later, I walked across the stage in 2007 as the #1 agent worldwide for Keller Williams. Yeah.
Amazing. Actually, that whole exercise of writing affirmations, I love that. I wish more people would do that. Whether you write it or say it, just remind yourself that you're amazing, that we're all magic.
And here's the thing, when I got to #1 in the world, people are like, how do you do it? And I would tell them massively positive freaking energy and an incredible attitude. And they would be like, no, seriously. And I would tell them, I can teach you anything about real estate, how to do an open house, how to lead generate, how to list a home. I can teach you anything. But if you don't pay attention to your attitude, your mindset, the way you talk to yourself, what you're putting into your soul and your mind and your body, you'll never reach your potential. People are drawn to it. It's like a magnet. And then I would teach them. And then they'd come back to me and they'd be like, yeah, affirmations aren't working. I'm like, really? I say, do them every day for the next 20 years and tell me they don't work. I'm shifting my unconscious mind. Like, most people never tap into their unconscious mind. And I've been tapping into mine for 28 years, driving positive thoughts about who I am, who I can become, and how we can change the world in some little way. And that raises my energy level. And people walk around this world with disbelief, anxiety, depression, and they don't know how to do it. And that is the mission I'm on, is to help people change the way they think, because then you can change your life.
I love it. I love everything you said. And agree with it completely. One of the things that you said, though, which is not a surprise, is what that agent told you, which is no one else has ever completed that book.
Yeah.
Why do you think so? Why do you think that's the case?
I know why you're successful. I know why I'm successful. I know why Mark is successful. I know why Gary Keller is successful. I know why, because they're consistent. I accomplish my biggest dreams by working daily on my littlest goals. People think, oh my God, he's an overnight success. No, it's daily activities. I have plans that I started creating when I was 25 years old, where I set a goal, right? Like, one of my mission, passion goal is to positively impact people around the globe. Like, speak, teach, share these ideas that change my life so they can change their life. And one of those goals is, I am a #1 New York Times bestselling author. So when you think about that, you're like, oh God, so if my vision and my goal is to become a New York Times bestselling author, what can I do today? I accomplish my biggest dreams by working daily on my littlest goals. I am writing 20 minutes per day. Just writing, creating, getting better. How do you become an internationally known global speaker and teacher? I am going to Toastmasters 3 times a week, 3 different groups, practicing, honing those skills. The reason people fail, in my opinion, is they want it, but they don't want to do the work. And they think the work is overwhelming, but the work is not overwhelming when you break it down into little things, right? just like you do, you know? So for instance, how do you get to number one in the world in real estate? I am writing 10 personal notes per week, Wednesdays from 9 till 10 a.m. And then that becomes one of my, that's how I hit goals, right? I set them. I don't keep them in my mind. I write them down like we're told to do. And then I don't just write them down and put them in a drawer. I write them down, I laminate them, I keep them in my shower, above the visor, in my car, at my office. I surround myself with them, and I look at them every day. And it's a system. And that's the beautiful thing about where my life is going, is I have systems for everything, and I'm going to package those systems and be able to help people, because I can teach my 19-year-old daughter how to become the number one agent in the world because it's systematic. So,
You know, part of what you said there is you set a goal. You said you wanted to be, worldwide renowned number one bestseller and teacher, and how you set that vision for yourself, and then you worked at it. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Is I'm an engineer. I'm an introvert, and I'm just not a people person. Right? I would rather be in front of my computer and code. Okay. But, and I was very fortunate in life where most of my career, we were able to make a lot of money without having any social media presence, and just doing B2B work. And we just generated a ton of business, just by being very good at what we do and without having to be out front in the limelight. And then, 5 years ago when I started the AI project, and I realized, wait a minute, I have to promote it. I have to get out there, and we have to create social media. I have to do all these things. I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to get in front of a camera. I got to get in front of people.
Well, you're awesome at it.
Oh, I don't know if I'm awesome at it, but, I basically said, I got to do everything that I hate doing, that I'm afraid to do. But I realized this is a job. This is what's needed. This is what's being called of me. And I did it. And I used to dread every time I got in front of a camera. I would have anxiety for, even if it's just a pre-recording, just a simple recording. That the marketing, my coaches, my PR people said, we need a simple recording. I need you to talk about X, Y, Z. And I would procrastinate on that the whole day. And procrastinate until I finally got my courage to get in front of the camera and record it. Even if I'm just talking to myself, right? But you just got to power through it. You just got to do it. You got to if you're not doing something every day that makes you uncomfortable, then you're not getting anywhere. Every day you got to do something that pushes you beyond your edges, that makes your brain hurt, right? That kind of shakes you up a little bit. Only then you're growing. And so 5 years later, now I get in front of a stage, and I get in front of a big room full of people. And I don't feel anything, right? I don't feel like, I feel like I'm just talking to my best friend. I was in Davos, and I had the camera pointed at me, and they said there's some 15,000 people across Europe watching this, and I just didn't even register. I just spoke to the person sitting right in front of me in the audience, and just went on doing it. So, but I know 5 years ago I could not have done that. I would have frozen. I would have probably threw up in front of that camera.
I think what's also important to keep in mind in that, I love that, because I'll give you for instance, I used to say, I'm not a technology guy. And I said it forever. Now I say, I'm a technology wizard. I'm building an app. I'm studying and learning AI. I am a technology wizard. The way we speak, and when we change things, and then when we go out and actually experience it, like you're doing, getting in front of a camera, getting in front of 15,000 people, you and I could not be more opposite. I was born to be in front, and that is my passion, I couldn't, I won't say that. I could code the hell out of something. But yeah, getting uncomfortable, shaking up. And once you've done something, like you said, I used to get scared. I used to be, and then I did it, and then I did it again, and then I did it again. I always tell the story of when I was learning a objection handling script, and I practiced it probably 150 times. It's called the post-dated close script. And I practiced, and I never used it. And then one day in 2006, I had 5 listing appointments in one day, and it was during the World Series. And I told my partner I'm going to hit a grand slam today. And at my 3rd listing appointment, I get done, I'm like on fire. And they go, "This sounds really good. We're going to think about it." And I was like, "No, you're not." And my ears got red. But I had practiced. And I shared with them the script, and they're like, "Oh, sounds good." And they signed a listing, and at the end of the day, I took 5 listings. And so anyway, we have to push ourselves into uncomfortable situations to get comfortable in them. So great job.
So if I can learn to speak in front of a camera, in front of a crowd, and Chad can learn to write an app, then truly nothing is beyond reach. And that's why we say that nothing is beyond reach.
Absolutely nothing. I'll share another really cool thing with you about what we were talking about before, because this was life-changing. Like I said, I laminate everything. I have business plans and things from 26 years of my life. But in 2004, I went to a seminar with a guy named John Maxwell, and I learned about a life plan. And I wrote this November 17th of 2004. I was doing about 40 million in sales. I was 28 years old. And it was November 17th. I wrote my personal mission statement. I wrote my 7 core values. I wrote my eulogy. I wrote a clarifying vision statement. And then I pushed my life out 20 years in terms of what I wanted to see and who I wanted to become. And then I created small goals behind those, right? But that's not the cool part. This is the cool part. I also wrote this, which is the Goldwasser Team 2005 plan. And I was doing 40 million in sales. I paid 20 grand to a coach to come in and tear everything apart. And that was a ton of money to me at the time. And we tore everything apart. I moved from Remax to Keller Williams, and I wrote this: my envisioned future, big goals and plans, next 10 years. We will become the top real estate team in Texas and top 50 in the world within 10 years. 3 years later, we were number 1 in the world for Keller Williams, and we were number 42 on the planet in the industry, ranked by Wall Street Journal. People don't sometimes understand the power of writing something down, driving it into their unconscious mind, and then the unconscious mind gives you ideas and ways. And, you know, for me, it's from a higher power that gives me these ideas. Like, how do you become an internationally known global teacher and speaker? Like, I'm driving that into my unconscious mind every single day. And then I go and speak, and then I get hired, and then I come to the Mindset Summit, and I meet you, and then, you know, you never know what or why. You just have to keep moving forward and doing the work. So,
you know, you make a really good point there. Is you just got to keep moving forward, do the work, and you don't know why and where sometimes. And I see a lot of people that get in their own way. They work really hard and everything, but they end up in what I call analysis paralysis. Every decision they logically analyze to infinitum, and ultimately the decision is that they don't make a decision, right? So it's sometimes, you know, I think not sometimes, I think most of the time, you have to just relax and listen to the higher power. It'll guide you to the right spot.
Yeah, I've had an affirmation that I've used for years, which has gotten me into trouble and been a hell of a good thing for me. And that's, I make decisions and I act on them immediately. You know, some people are like, I'm already done? my team used to hate it because we'd be in an executive meeting. I'd have my CEO, my chief operating officer, my sales managers, and they'd be talking, and then all of a sudden I'd be on the phone and they'd be like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, we said we were going to get this done. I'm getting it done now. Like, why wait till tomorrow? Let's not talk about shit. Let's get shit done.
You said something interesting, is that sometimes when you make decisions quickly and you act on it, it gets you into a lot of trouble. Can you share an example of a lot of trouble you gotten into from fast decision?
Yeah, you want to hear about a $500,000 mistake I made? Okay. I am a passionate music fan. Like, my father passed away when I was 14, and the next year I went and saw the Grateful Dead in Alpine Valley, and I shut my eyes and I danced my ass off, and I realized music heals, and I became a passionate music fan. And then I got to #1 in the world in real estate, and then I thought I could do anything and everything. And in 2015, I decided I was going to start managing some musicians, and the Austin Business Journal put me on the front page of the Austin real estate mogul set to take over the music industry. And some guy saw that and he called me and he goes, you need a music venue, bro. And I was like, yeah, I do. And I went and looked at it, and there was a big lit up sea, and I was like, this was meant to be. And I had the passion, the vision, the connections, the plan, and I missed one thing. And I bought that music venue, and it quickly turned into a real pain in the ass and cost me about $500,000. So I made the decision, and I moved on it, and I got people following, and I missed one thing. And that's when I realized, you can have a mission, a vision, a plan, energy, passion, and drive to do it, and you can miss one little thing. And now I really analyze things, before I jump in. But that's one time when it got me into a bad mistake.
So the one thing you missed was the analytics.
Yeah, I forgot to think, okay, not all 40-year-old dudes go out and see 3 concerts a week. Nobody wants to pay for the music. You're a half a mile from a homeless shelter, like these little things. So I'm much more analytical now, and I stick to things that I know will create the most impact and the most value, and will keep me creating revenue and in a space where I am in my strength zones.
Yeah, makes sense. The way I do it is I'll make decisions based on what I feel the universe is telling me. But then I'll give it to my team. I said, this is what I want to do. Tell me why I shouldn't do it. Go do all the research and talk me out of it. I tell them, it's your job to talk me out of it and find every problem in this decision.
Yeah, John Maxwell, one of my greatest mentors and a guy that changed my life dramatically, wrote a book called Thinking for a Change. And he said, I can come to you, Pavan, and I have an idea. And it's a great idea. But then I bring it to Pavan, and now I've got 2 minds thinking about it. And then we bring it to Mark, and then we bring it to Eddie, or we bring it to, and now we've got a mastermind looking at it from all different angles. And one mind is amazing, but when we combine great minds that want to do great things, we can change the world.
So for myself, I can speak at least that if I try to do both, if I try to follow the heart, follow the spirit, and I try to do the analytics, okay, it doesn't work, because I'll and especially with me being an analytical and introverted person, I'll end up too deep in the analytics and I'll forget what the spirit was. So I realized that I need sort of a division of church and state. Okay, so I focus on the vision. I focus on where I want to be, right? And I'm always thinking vision, and I'm always thinking what's my heart say. And then I leave the analytics to my team, and let them tell me no. Let them say, here are all the problems. Here's why we shouldn't do it, right? and that I found to be a much more effective way to make good decisions, at least for me.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Can I hire your team?
That's the hard part. I've seen a lot of really good business plans, a lot of really good people, a lot of really good leaders, but building that team around you that you that will only the hard part of building the team around you, they have to always put the project first, right, and the mission first. And what that means is when your team puts the mission, the project first, is they're putting themselves first, right? So you need a team that thinks big, that understands the mission is them and they are the mission. And too many people will get absorbed in the very, very short term, the very, very near term gains and forget the long term. And that's why I think it's hard to build a team, because leaders are good leaders will be thinking big vision, big mission, and it's okay to once in a while do the sacrifice play, right? And and sometimes you're going to have to pick a team member that's going to take the out, but it's good but that's how you win the game, right? And you need team members that would be like, yes, fine, I'll go do that. No big deal, because they understand that hitting that pop fly is gonna be worth it.
Yeah, I the first time I learned about teamwork was in football in high school, and then I learned about teamwork when I was building my company with Keller Williams, and then we left and launched Goldwasser Real Estate, and I had a CEO running my company who I had brought into real estate, who was very, very smart, and then I had a chief operating officer that I happened to be married to at the time that was very smart, and I had this incredible team, and I wasn't following my intuition, and I kept telling them, we're making millions of dollars and I'm getting calls from creditors. I don't trust our controller. Will you guys make sure you're watching the money? And they kept saying, oh, she's great. She never takes vacation. She's amazing. And she was stealing money from me for 3 years, stole $500,000 from me. So build the team, trust them, and oversee, and always keep an eye on the money. That's what I learned from that.
But, did that stop you? You had someone you trusted that burned you. Did that stop you from doing what you need to do? From continuing to be your business?
Yeah. Well, that's a good segue into adversity and resilience, because, we can get the, excuse my language, shit beat out of us, and we can use that to be an excuse as to why we can't do or achieve, or we can use it as fuel to be a rocket. And what happened to me was that happened. So I left Keller Williams in 2008 in the midst of the worst market ever, where we were cranking. Gary Keller coached me a lot, and he would always say to me, Chad, it doesn't matter what the market's doing, it matters what you're doing. So we were cranking. And we left in the end of 2008. October of 2009, I'm in California when my wife finds out that this woman's been stealing money from me and also hasn't been paying my payroll taxes, so I owe the government $300,000. That was October of 2009. January of 2010, I had 120 agents. My top agent came to me and said, I'm leaving because of something your CEO did when the embezzlement happened. And over the course of the next 6 months, January of 2010 until June, she recruited away half my agents to another company that was paying more in commission splits. And in the midst of that, in May of 2010, the woman I met when I was 11, started dating when I was 13, married when I was 23, had 3 children with, and built a company with, said, I'm not going to be married to you anymore. And that's 1, 2, 3 punch. Yeah, that was rough. And I'm out speaking around the world about how we can utilize our mind to overcome any challenges. And that took me out for a minute, but it didn't stop me, and it didn't extinguish the fire or the vision. And I've had a lot of things like that happen, and I'm 52 and I feel like my life's just getting started. What I did in the past will be incredibly eclipsed by what I'm about to do, and that's exciting. And I'm going to use all of those lessons that I got to help others and to help myself and to become the best businessman and the best human being that I can become. And so you can either use those adversities to drive you down and become an excuse, or you can learn from them and realize everyone makes mistakes.
Amazing. I don't know of one person who's at the top of their game who hasn't had a 1, 2, 3 punch like you've had. Everyone's gone through their share of 1, 2, 3 punches, and sometimes 5, 6, 7, 8 punches.
Yeah, I mean, there's more to the story.
I'm sure there is, but you're positive. You're going strong, and you're going to keep on going.
Absolutely. And I keep meeting great people, and opportunities are there. And I just need to keep preparing and doing the work every day and planting the seeds. And John Maxwell has a great version of what it means to be successful. And he says, success is waking up in the morning excited, sowing seeds that benefit others, and growing to become the best version of yourself. And that's my life, man. I wake up in the morning and I don't want to go to sleep. I love my life, and I'm not chasing anything anymore. I'm not chasing fame and wealth and success and money. I don't chase it. I am being who I am. I am more comfortable with who I am. I don't care what people think of me. I know who I am. I believe in myself. I believe in my goals and dreams, and I have massive faith. And that's exciting. And I have beautiful kids that I love with all my heart.
Incredible. So I know there's going to be a lot of people listening to this right now, and they're going to get super motivated watching this. But I also seen too many people that'll watch a motivational talk like this, and then it'll last for a couple of hours, and then they'll kind of go back to their old habits. What advice can you give them?
So Zig Ziglar said something really important. He said, motivation is like a shower. We need some every day. My number one thing is I motivate and inspire myself every single day. So you can watch this and you can think, look, that's great. I shared this with you at the Mindset Summit. Here's how I got to number one in the world. I went to a seminar and I learned 100 things, and I went back and I implemented one. I went back to that seminar, I learned 100 more things, and I implemented another. Just implement one thing. If I can inspire you to do one thing out there, it is to implement a morning mindset routine that will inspire, motivate, and drive you to be more. I have a morning mindset workout that I teach people. It starts with my wake up thought, which is a thought I've taught myself to think before I get out of bed every morning, and that is, it's an awesome day. I will positively impact the lives of everyone I touch today. I then, for me, get on my knees and thank God for my life and pray, and then I go through my affirmations, then I read through my why. I have this attitude quote that I read every day, and this is a 15 to 20 minute process. That's it.
Yeah.
And by 7 a.m., by 5:30 a.m., I'm amped up as hell and excited.
Yeah.
I don't rely on outside things to motivate and inspire me. I do, and I read a lot, and I listen to people like you, and I go to seminars like you put on, and I meet people, and I exercise, and I listen to great podcasts, and I'm just constantly filling my mind, body, and soul with thoughts that will help me to become the person I want to become.
Yeah, I like what you said about listening to the right podcasts and being in the right environment. One of the things I found myself doing not too long ago was listening. This is years ago, actually. I stopped listening to all the political news because I realized that it was having a very negative effect on my mood. Right. So it doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you're on, right? So it's very addictive the way they do the format, the way they've got something figured out to really get you those whatever it is dopamine releases when you listen to it. And so I stopped all that and I just focused on positive things, and that made a big difference in my approach to problems and situations.
Well, if you think about it, the typical traditional average human being, they're watching the news and they're embroiled in so much bullshit, and it's being driven. They don't control what goes into their mind, and therefore there is so much negativity in this world. And that's why when I got to #1 in the world and people were like, how do you do it? And I was like, massively positive freaking energy. People are drawn to it because it's refreshing and they want to be around it. Have you ever met a negative person and you're like, I just want to get the hell out of here? I played pickleball with one this morning. I believe I am a product of controlling what goes into my mind. I am very cognizant of what I listen to, who I listen to, and what I put into my mind on a daily basis, because it's important. And it's not only important for my pocketbook and for my business. Here is the most beautiful thing that ever happened to me. I think I shared this with you last Thursday. In 2018, my now 22-year-old son, Aiden, was applying for colleges, and I never thought I was a good father. And that, I love my children with all my heart, and I am a great father. But I never sat my kids down and said, you have to do this, you have to do this. I never did that. And I got an email from him, Aiden, he's 18, and it was entitled College Essay. I mean, I've never gotten an email from my kid in my life. And I opened it and it said, Dad, I answered this essay question for my entrance to the University of Texas, and I thought you should read it. And the question was, how do you feel you will impact and influence the University of Texas, both inside and outside of the classroom? And his response in an email is, I have infectious positive energy. My father has always expressed the vital importance of optimism and positivity, not only for the benefit of the individual, but that of the community as well. My dad is constantly lifting people up, putting smiles on people's faces, and he can't help but brighten any room that he walks into. By this time, I'm bawling. And he goes on to say, and seeing how much I have been influenced and shaped by my father's positivity, I've taken it upon myself to impact the people around me with that same energy. I will bring a wave of positivity to the students and to the University of Texas. And we don't know who's watching us, and we don't know what kind of impact we can make, but that was the greatest day of my life.
I love that story. Wow.
Yeah.
So much to learn from you.
Oh, thank you, man.
You got my wheels turning. Like, seriously, got my wheels turning now.
Good. That's always my intention. You've got my wheels turning. I'm super glad we met. I was not planning to come to that event, and I had a trip set to LA, and I met with a young kid named Sergio who picked up the phone and called me. He's 22. I'm 52. I'm one of the top agents in the industry. And he picked up his phone and he called me and he said, Mr. Goldwasser, I watched you on Aceable Agent when I got my license, and I'm with this company and I'd like to talk to you. And I'm like, dude, I'm not looking to do anything, but you have balls to call me and I'm going to meet with you. And we met. And anyway, I ended up meeting with Victor Nino. Then I ended up meeting, then they said, we're doing this thing out in California, you should come. And I happened to be out in Newport Beach last week. And so I came and, I got to meet Sam and I got to meet Josh and I got to meet Mark and Eddie. And, I'm super thankful for that. And I'm super thankful to be sharing ideas with you right now.
Now, this has been an amazing conversation. I'm going to ask you one question that I've been dying to ask you since we met in Pasadena. And you said something that really stuck in my head and is near and dear to what I'm doing, which is you said, for the past year and a half, 2 years, you've made it a mission to learn everything you can about AI.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that. Why did you make it your mission and what have you figured out so far and where are you headed with it?
People are scared of it. I embrace things that scare people. And AI is going to revolutionize the world. It already is. And I am going to know everything about it so that I can teach and share it with others. I am learning so much. I took a 2-day course, 8 hours a day and learned, and I continue to do that. I'm learning that it will enhance the world. People are scared that it's going to take over. It's going to take jobs, but it's not going to take jobs of the people that embrace it, understand it, learn it, and become generalists that are so deep in their knowledge. Like, I'll share something with you. I think I shared it with you when we met, but that same kid that sent that email was my son Aiden. Was in my car one day and he said, Dad, he was listening to me on the phone. He goes, Dad, you're pretty good at what you do, aren't you? And I said, son, I never wanted to be good. I never wanted to be great. I want to be legendary, the best there ever was, because what I do is important. And I have taken that approach to speaking. I've taken that approach to real estate. And I'm going to take that approach to AI and learn it and have a deep understanding, just like I have of real estate, just like I have of the human mind, just like I have of, being a great father, being a great friend, encouraging and loving people. The more deeply I think that we can understand the utilization of AI in our lives and be able to help, we're going to be able to expand so quickly and grow and do things, that will positively impact millions of people around the globe. When I was sitting in the seminar the other day, I just kept thinking, I have a vision to sell out Madison Square Garden and, bring people in and put on a mindset summit like you have, like with 20,000 people there. So the more I understand about different ways to generate awareness of what we're teaching, the more opportunity we're going to have to do that. And so I highly believe in learning AI, and I'm telling as many people as I can, don't be scared, embrace it, learn about it, understand how to utilize it, not just Chat GPT. I mean, Chat GPT is the famous one, but there are millions of Chat GPTs or GPTs or artificial intelligence, and there's so many uses for it. So I embrace those types of things.
Awesome. So I'm gonna ask you to do me a favor then.
Yeah. AngelAi. I'm in.
And it's easy to get started. Just attend. You could actually request a workshop anytime you want, and one of our experts will show you. So just go to angelai.com.
Well, what I love, and this is the beautiful thing about AI, is you did not send me an Instagram message, but I got one from you, like it was you. And I'm going to sign up immediately.
Actually, that was me.
It was?
That was me. I wasn't going to respond to the number one agent. I was going to let my bot respond to the number one agent. I was going to respond.
Okay, wow. And I didn't respond to you. Brother, exclamation point. I can't wait to learn all about AngelAi and help you spread it around the world, period. There we go.
I actually respond to 90% of my Instagram messages and other social media content myself because it's one of my disciplines. Is because the reason is that's how I know my customers are thinking. And I learned so much about what I could be doing better by seeing what is being posted, by seeing what my team posts, what my customers are saying. I learn, and then I also get new ideas. We find problems, and I get new ideas from the process.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to set that up immediately.
Yeah, it's the best way to do market research, to understand your customers. It's just interact with your customers. It's rule number one. Any topic, every top executive, the first priority should be talk to your customers every which way you can.
Yeah. And, I have a discipline that I have worked on that I added to my schedule several years ago. And that is I have an hour blocked off in the morning for social media. Not to scroll, but the goal is, and it's in my schedule, I'm going to comment on 5 people's posts, not just like cool, but I'm like, that is amazing. Congratulations on your job, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to comment on 5 people's, gets my name in front of them, also kind and loving and thoughtful. Number 2, every birthday that shows up, I go in and I don't just be like, HBD, Pavan. I say, Pavan, I am absolutely stunned by your amazing intelligence, and I'm so thankful that we met. You inspire me, and I hope you have the greatest birthday ever. All birthdays. Then I do 5 DMs. Hey, Pavan, it's so amazing to see what you're doing out there. Congratulations on all your success. When you need to buy your next mansion, call me. And then I will do a story of my own and a post of my own. So that's the system, right? And I think one of the best people that talks about that, besides what you just said, is Gary Vee. He says, I just respond. Respond to these people and let them know you're there. And I think Mark said it great in your podcast with him. I'm very accessible. I am very accessible, and I will help anyone that wants my help and is willing to do the work.
You get a lot of people that'll reach out to you and make requests, and you are accessible. But how do you filter that out? How do you find the guys who are genuine about doing the work, that are genuine about doing something positive, versus the guys that, are just trying to take advantage?
Here's what I say. People will be like, hey, man, God, I follow you on social media. I watch what you're doing. You inspire me. I would love to pick your brain for an hour. I say, I love you. Thank you so much. We don't need an hour. I'll give you 20 minutes. You're buying coffee or lunch. and I'll give you everything I have. And I believe in you share the secret, sell the accountability. I share everything. I think I told you this, but when I moved to Keller Williams from Remax in 2004, 2005, I was going there to speak, and there was a room of 200 agents, and my brother was with me, and he goes, you're going to speak to 200 people, tell them all your secrets and what you do. Don't you think that's dumb? And I said, 99% of them won't do anything that I do. And the 1% that do will inspire me to do better. And that's the truth. So I will quickly assess who this person is and if they truly are willing to do the work. But that's so hard to do because I remember back in 2005, I hired an agent that my CEO and my sales manager said, no, we're not hiring her. She was a past client of mine. Her husband was one of my best friends. I said, yes, we are. And they said, she's annoying. And she, within 2 years, was making 200 grand and was my top agent. So we can't determine sometimes who's going to do the work. So we give a little. And then I also had a kid call me 10 years ago. It was a Friday night at 9:30. He was 21 years old. It was his birthday. And I picked up my phone. Thanks for choosing Pure Gold Realty. This is Chad. And he goes, is this Chad Goldwasser? Did you just answer your phone? I said, I always answer my phone. And we spent 10 minutes on the phone. He said, I'm getting my license. I Googled world's greatest realtors. I found you. I watched an interview. I want you to mentor me. I said, I don't do that. And it would cost you way too much. But do these 5 things and get back to me once you've done it, and then we'll talk. 2 days later, he called me back. He's like, done. And so I give people challenges, you know. If you came to me and, you know, like you asked me to be on your podcast, right? Like, why did you do that? Because you could tell probably that I do the work.
Yeah.
And no one will outwork me. Like, I work hard and I love what I do and I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm not looking to just make a small impact. I'm looking to help people and raise the frequency of energy on this planet because it's needed.
Excellent. So we're wrapping. I think we've gone way over an hour. This was amazing conversation. But I'd like you to do me a big favor. I'd like you to do our audience a big favor.
Yeah.
And can you leave them with homework? Can you give them 5 things that they should do today?
5?
Give them 5 things to do.
Number 1, create a morning mindset routine. Please. Create a wake-up thought. A simple 1 sentence that gets your mind thinking in the right direction. Mine's simple. You can use it if you want. It is an awesome day. I will positively impact the lives of everyone I touch today. That gets my thinking moving right away. So create a wake-up thought. Number 2, create 10 to 25 affirmations. I'm glad to share mine with you. Create them in the I am format, meaning I am the best at what I do. I lead, not follow. I believe, not doubt. I am a #1 New York Times best-selling author. I am capable of greatness every day. Create 10 to 20 affirmations. And then type them, laminate them, put a copy in your shower, and just give me 1 month, 30 days of driving these thoughts into your unconscious mind and into your mind. And then if it's not working for you, call me and we'll talk. Number 3, was that 2? Number 3, start thinking about your biggest goals in life. Push your life out 5 years and think about a utopian vision. You know, I am 5 years from now, I am selling out Madison Square Garden. I am positively impacting people around the world. I am writing my second #1 New York Times. And then, so put that on paper, write it down, and then create 3 goals for yourself behind that you can work on each day that will lead you there. Number 4, start reviewing the negative people and the negative things you're allowing to get into your mind and into your space, and start removing them. And number 5, kick ass every day.
And last thing, I think probably the most important question: what is the name of your book, and how do people get it?
Restart 7 Proven Keys to Unlock Your Potential. It was written in 2019. I also wrote in 2009, Some Assembly Required, a networking guide for real estate. They can go to Amazon.com. Follow me on Instagram, Chad.Goldwasser. That's CHAD.GOLDWASSER. And come to the Mindset Summits, and hopefully I'll be speaking there soon. And hire me to come speak and teach. I will light up your company and your conference. and people will walk away with their jaws dropped and having fun because I dedicated my life to that craft.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. We're very generous, and
thank you, brother.
Y'all watching, this is I gotta say, this is probably the most inspiring podcast I've ever done. Amazing.
Oh man, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. I can't wait to see you soon.
Thank you. Cheers.